Well, halito. A little more Astroworld nostalgia. Greazed Lightnin. Greazed Lightnin. Greazed Lightnin. That was a ride. That ride there is kind of close to my heart because I really liked that ride. Now, even though I found Looping Starship kind of boring, Old Twister kind of boring. Greazed Lightnin was one of these short rides. It was like 180, 800 and some odd feet long. It wasn't a long ride, but for some reason, it's just, I liked it. I liked it. And it also it was one of the faster rides at Astroworld. Greazed Lightnin came to the park in 1978. It was a very simple coaster. You got launched from a track. He got launched using a flywheel. I'm thinking it was I want to kind of research it. It was a flywheel that was spin. I guess his clutches would then engage, and that would then shoot the ride forward. Nowadays, would probably use electromagnetics to do the same thing for a new ride of that same kind. But back then, the ride had a top speed of 60 miles per hour, which is, like I said, one of the faster rides at the park. It'll shoot you forward, go through the little tunnel-looking thing, hit a loop, up this incline, where you would then stop. And again, this is another ride also, if you're front or in the back, slightly different experience. So you up this ramp, you stop. And it's a rather steep ramp. And then it had enough trajectory and height. This is 133 feet high, I think. You would then roll backwards, back through the loop, shoot backwards through where you loaded from, then hit another incline, which you would then stop again, then back down, and you would then stop. These brakes would stop you in the loading unloading terminal, where you load up, and then they would spool up the big flywheel, I guess. I want to research this flywheel because I'm kind of curious how it really functioned. But yeah, that ride was that was a fun ride. It wasn't everyone's favorite because it was a short ride. Part of me liked it because even though it had a speed of 60 miles per hour, I think it went from 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. It was 3-4 seconds. It was quick. But by the time you left the loading station into that first little tunnel before the loop, you're at 60 miles per hour, and that was a very short span of time. But I do remember being the new coasters have a kind of an elliptical loop. The loops aren't always round, they're kind of elliptical, because that's the whole, when your roller coaster hits that quick spot up top, it's kind of, that quick spot sort of accelerates you. You know, it's different physics and how the loop should work and those kind of rides. But Greazed Lightnin, you hit that loop. On the way up, you begin losing some speed. And when you reach the very top of that loop, especially if you were in the middle or the last car, you're going slow enough where you would, the G-force keeping you to your seat was maybe zero, maybe negative, slightly negative, where you would slightly lift off your seat before the coaster came back around, and then gravity would take back over and be back in the seat again. It wasn't abrupt where you're gonna fall out. If no bars strapping you on there, you wouldn't fall out. But it was just enough lack of G's upside down that you would lift off your seat slightly, especially the back cars. The front cars, you're hitting that loop still at enough velocity to keep you in your seat. The middle and the back, by the time you loop around and the rest of the train ups that loop, you are going, especially the back car, you are going slow enough where you lift off your seat just enough. Then you hit the incline. On the way back though, you're no longer traveling at that 60 mile an hour. On the way backwards, everybody experiences the lift off the seat because now you're going a little bit slower, and you would hit that loop backwards, and everybody would lift off their seat back. Now, depending on where you were in the car, farther back, middle is kind of the middle of best of both worlds. It was the front and back that really made a difference. The front car, you hit that loop, and then when you hit the first up before you go backwards, you're in a front car, you're facing nearly vertical, straight up looking at the sky. Now, if you're in a back car, it's not quite as vertical. You're still on a kind of incline. Now, heading backwards is opposite. When you hit that back incline and stop, that moment you kind of hang time before gravity takes back over and starts to go back down again. If you're in that back car, you are vertical, looking straight down. If you're in a front car, you're not quite vertical. You got the sort of the incline, so you're still looking down, but you're at a more of an angle like this. But yes, that ride, I remember one year, man, we just told the guy, just keep going. It was in the back part of the park. And that might have been the western town, I think. The train did go through there. I think my brain's trying to say it was that was the western themed area of the park. But it was in the far back side of the park. And I remember one year, man, was my brother there? He might have been there. I can't remember exactly who was all there. But I remember hopping on that ride, and every time the ride stopped, there was nobody in that line. At least not enough people in the line. And I remember probably 4 or 5 times back to back, I rode that bad boy. Yeah, that was a fun ride. And as simple as it was actually one of my favorites. It really was. Now, 05, that ride was dismantled. And a theme park in Odessa, Texas, said we want it. They bought it for $100,000. That sounds dirt cheap. That sounds like something I could get a loan for and buy it myself. And buy me 15 acres or whatever, or buy some acreage and build me one ride park. But yeah, it was bought for $100,000. The coaster, the whole train car. They had one car, one train, and the whole coaster. During this dismantling, the control room actually caught fire and burned down. But the ride itself wasn't harmed or anything. The park had issues. From what I read, groundwater. The park had a high groundwater, and they could not successfully implement this ride at the park. So the ride stayed in a storage lot about a mile from the park. And since then, a couple other companies had bought the ride with the intent to get it reassembled and up and running again. And all those attempts also has failed and not happened. So the train itself, there's a identical coaster in Oklahoma called the Silver Bullet, and it's an identical roller coaster. And from what I have gathered, that park had bought that train, and so I guess it's like either a backup train or something like that. They bought either way they bought the train, rethemed it, repainted it. It went from the Greazed Lightning to the Silver Bullet. Now the track that had been passed down from park to park, last I heard it was on sale. The park, it was on sale. It was on sale for about $250,000, something like that. From what I hear now, the most of the track itself had been scrap metal. There's not much remaining of the park of the ride itself. So it's kind of sad. I want to try to locate the location of the remaining parts of the track. If there's a photo of it, great, or satellite, a Google view of it or something. If they're not, then yeah, it kind of is what it is. But yeah, Greazed Lightning, that was an all-time favorite for me, just because it just, yeah, I don't know, it just was, you know. Now, we've been teasing here in Houston area for years now of rebuilding a new theme park. Because we don't have the Triangle no more. Of Houston, Astroworld, Fiesta, Texas, and then we have a Six Flags in Dayton. That triangle of Six Flags Park is now gone. It's just now San Antonio and Dallas area. But it's been teased for a couple years now of a new theme park being built north of Houston. Far as I know, the land's been purchased, and I've seen a lot of sketches of the land. There was actually even a theoretical kind of map it out in the shape of Astroworld, where the rides are and how kind of Astroworld has their quadrants and everything. And one of the it's funny, it's like around 2014 first time I saw this, I got excited. One of the rides in the far back of the park was in fact the Greazed Lightning, and that was probably prior to it being the ride itself being scrapped, because when I read updates in that, the Greazed Lightning ride has been omitted. So, but I think if they ever did want to redo a Greazed Lightning with today's technology, now we have electromagnetic launchers rather than the old flywheel and hydraulic type launchers. We could probably make the Greazed Lightning bigger and better. I mean, I can't see why, because the Superman ride goes almost 100 miles an hour. There's like a NASCAR type of ride that goes 120 miles per hour. So using electromagnetics, you can put 2 loops to that bad boy if you wanted to. Have a launch, a loop, small straightaway. Depending on your velocity, you got to keep your velocity hit this loop. Basically, if you're going to stop and go backwards, you have to have enough incline, climb the incline, and then backwards enough to go through both loops. But I can kind of see magnetically launched, hit that first loop, then go through a section where it will then once again relaunch you back up to that sweet spot speed, next loop, and then incline, and then basically backwards loop, launch you, get your speed back going again, next loop type of deal. So yeah, we have technology that will definitely 100% be able to do a 2-loop Greazed Lightning. So who knows? But yeah, the only existing ride like Greazed Lightning is in Oklahoma. There's a park in Oklahoma, I can't remember what it's called now, called a Silver Bullet, and that is made by the same company, and the Anton Schwarzkopf, something like that. I think he's the designer of the ride. Came from a German designer, and the only, as far as I know, is still functioning. The only functioning ride like Greazed Lightning is Silver Bullet in Oklahoma, which might require maybe a road trip to get up there and ride it. That'd be kind of cool. That's all I got. Greazed Lightning. Hot your key.